Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Don't.
Peter, it is an honor to speak with you. I'm so happy I got to revisit Tommy Boy. I love this movie. I've always loved this movie, and I can't believe it's been 30 years. And Tommy Boy is still making audiences laugh 30 years later. What do you think it is about this film that keeps it so timeless?
I think it was, it wasn't just about the jokes. I think there's a sweetness to the movie that I think made it resonate. That and the fact that it's probably, Chris's best work. So, I mean, those two things make it, bittersweet. But I think that's what adds to the longevity of this.
I couldn't agree with you more. Chris's performance in this is bar none. It's so good. Now we got this on 4K Ultra HD. Can you talk about the process of remastering Tommy Boy in 4K and what improvements fans will notice the most?
Well, I just finished the color timing session only a couple of months ago, and I was amazed at how good it looks. It looks so good, in fact, that we started revealing certain things that you're not supposed to see, like cables and wires of stunt vehicles that I never saw before. And so we had to do some fixes on that. But I'm excited because probably the first half of my career was on 35 millimeter, but the second half of my career is digital. It's hard to tell the difference now, but I do sense a difference looking back at the original Tommy Boy on 35, especially when at the 20th anniversary, Quentin Tarantino had a screening of it at the New Beverly Theater, and the print he had was amazing. It was so beautiful, but the new 4K is like I said, it's like putting glasses on. It's really cool.
It's like looking through a window almost. I mean, it's really that good. Now, 30 years ago, when this movie was getting made, you had a lot of challenges you had to face. First of all, both Chris and David were going back and forth from New York to Toronto to shoot. And when you guys originally had the script, you guys didn't even have the full script when you started shooting. Talk to me about what were some of the biggest challenges you faced when directing Tommy Boy.
Exactly what you just said. We didn't have a script because when I came on board, I had a different idea for the story. Pretty much throwing a lot of what was there away because I wanted to tell a story that wasn't just about these two guys trying to save a factory, but it was also a father-son story. And that was important to Farley because he had a very close relationship with his father. And so, but because of that, we etch-a-sketched, erased, the screenplay. And then we were in a very difficult place where we were, writers had to go back to Saturday Night Live, and the original writers had sold another show, so they couldn't help anymore. And eventually, Fred Wolf came and helped me at least put 66 pages together for the start of Principal Photography. But then, I had no idea how the story was going to end. Sure. And we were getting close to the end of filming. We still didn't have an ending scripted. So that was scary.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, Chris Farley and David Spade had such natural comedic chemistry. Do you remember any moments on set where the improvisation completely changed the scene?
Yeah, there were so many. And I was grateful to see them just interact. One day I remember Farley came out of the hair and makeup trailer. It was a wardrobe test. And he was wearing his now iconic brown tweed jacket. And he said to Spade, "Hey, David, does this suit make me look fat?" And Spade said, "No, your face does." I said, that's going in. And so, I would either follow them around, take them out to dinner, hear from Fred Wolf, fat guy in a little coat was something that Farley would do at the SNL offices, and these are things that combined with things that happened to me, on road trips. Fred had the oil can that he left under the hood of his car, and the hood flew up. Really happened to him. Wow. I tried filling my wife's car up at the gas station, parked too far away from the hose, backed it up, hyperextended my door. That really happened. I was on a date in Arizona on a lake in a dead calm, and some kids were yelling at me. making fun of me from the shore. I thought this might be a good thing for Farley to scream at, because we need one of those in this movie.
Sure.
And that's how the story kind of was put together, piece by piece.
Incredible. Tommy Boy, based on a true story. I love it. Now, this film has a ton of physical comedy, and I don't think anybody's better at physical comedy than Chris Farley. Anybody. Were there any stunts or gags that were particularly difficult to pull off?
Well, he had a stunt double, but he was so much better than his stunt double that he really had to do it mostly himself. For example, the fight with Spade and Farley at the prehistoric forest, where Spade whacks him in the face with a 2x4. Well, of course, there was a soft part of the 2x4. It's just that Dave missed and hit him with the hard part of the 2x4 across the face. So, and that was actually Chris taking the hit.
Wow.
So, I mean, he was sort of a victim of his own, abilities, because, like I said, even dancing and walking, he had a certain, look and rhythm. There was only one shot where he wasn't available, and I had to shoot like a long shot of after the funeral, him walking down the lane with the fall colors and everything. And Chris hated it because he said, "That's not me. That's not how I walk." I said, "Okay, I'm never going to use this guy again." It's poor guy. But so he had to do everything.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible. Now, the bonus features include a gag reel and alternate takes. Is there a scene that almost made it into the final cut and you really wanted to get in there but didn't quite make it?
Gosh, there was one where we almost killed Rob Lowe. There was a whole sequence with him trying to sabotage a water tower. And I remember it was freezing cold at night. And we had this great idea that he was going to smoke a cigar. And of course, the prop master had Cubans up there because you can get them legally in Canada. And he almost got sick and threw up, and then it didn't make the cut. Wow. And so I always feel bad, but slightly frightened when I see people at the premiere and afterwards they say, "Hey, what happened?" But that was one.
Peter, listen, one thing I love doing with films like Tommy Boy, especially since on 4K, is doing my own double feature at home, my home double feature viewing. If you had to choose to watch a double feature with Tommy Boy and something else, what would your choices be?
Oh, well, of course, you think Tommy Boy, you think The Godfather. So I would probably be those two.
I love that. I love it. Look, another question I have for you, too, is, look, I was a huge fan of the show Heels. And I know you directed a ton on Heels. You directed multiple episodes of Heels, which was such a unique take on the wrestling world. What drew you to that project?
I've had the good fortune to have worked with a lot of pro wrestlers. Longest Yard, I got to work with Stone Cold and Great Khali and Kevin Nash, and then Dwayne Johnson in Get Smart, and then Batista, of course, in the My Spies. And so by the time my buddy Michael Malley brought that project to me, Heels, I was very well versed in that world, but I got to explore it in a different way and the behind the scenes of it. So that's why I was attracted to that.
Look, as a huge pro wrestling fan, I think you crushed it. I really wish Heels was still going now, but I love that show. But Peter,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Boy, absolute classic, man. Thank you so much for this. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.